The visible is whether we have an open or closed office plan, whether we have dress codes, office hours, perks, all those are visible. And that is what we normally pay attention to. And many times we are convinced that once we can change this, we have changed culture. Let me tell you something. A pig in a three-piece suit is still a pig. You understand what I'm saying? It's still a pig. We can change everything visible. And we think we have changed culture. Because culture is driven by the invisible. And the invisible is the belief system of the people in the team. It's the most difficult part, but that is what drives culture. Let me give you an example. And we must make a differentiation between what is a directive and what is cultural. For instance, the boss says, I want everybody to wear a blue tie on Mondays. Okay? That's a directive, blue tie. So everybody wears a blue tie as long as the boss is around, isn't it? The day the boss is not there, then you discover some people did not even wear a tie at all. Some people came in a sweatshirt, in a t-shirt. You know why? Because that instruction has not gained what I call cultural traction. It must gain culture. That means people are no more wearing the tie because of what the boss said. People are wearing it because that's just what they want to do. Oh, is somebody hearing me? The matatu driver, the customers are not saying, overlap, go in front of that. Are the customers saying that? But they've created an environment that makes that happen. So the invisible side of culture is the belief system. What do people believe? Because actions are functions of beliefs. So how do you get people to believe what you want them to believe? Do you know that is the biggest challenge of leadership? How do I get these people to believe what I want them to believe? Now, I looked for the answer and researched and researched. Do you know where I found the answer? In religion. Have you noticed every religion on the face of the earth has the same objective? To change what you believe. Yes or no? That means every religion on the face of the earth, you may have your own religious belief system already. But every religion on the face of the earth wants to change what you believe to the point that you dump your old beliefs, pick up your new belief, to the point of dying for it if you have to. Yes or no? So that means if we can understand how religions change belief system and we bring it into the organization, we can change everybody's belief system. Am I telling the truth?
Yes.
So how do religions change belief system? Number one, every religion has a message. So we say we want to transform, we want to do that. What is the message of our transformation? It must be so clear that even the gate man understands it. It must be so clear. Southwest Airlines used to be, well, I think they're still the most profitable airline. And even after 9/11, they were the only airline making profit in America. And their CEO made a very profound statement. One of the marketing executives, senior marketing person, went to meet him. You know, now, let me explain. Southwest Airlines is like Jumbo Jet, where they don't serve you food, they don't serve you anything. Okay, in their case, they just serve you groundnuts. Is that okay? That's what they do. So if you want food, you better bring your own food. You know? So that's what Southwest Airlines is like. So a marketing executive went to meet the CEO and said, we have done our research. If we start serving some salad or some more things, more people will be attracted to the airline. Now, that is intelligent, isn't it? It is logical, isn't it? Then the chairman, the CEO asked a simple question. He said, what is Southwest Airlines? We are the low-cost airline of the world. The. Then he asked a question. Will serving other meals on our flight keep us as the low-cost airline? Said no. They said, in that case, we're not serving any damn chicken. Because our message is well defined. The low cost. So anything we are doing, no matter how good, that does not keep us as the low cost, which is our defined message, we're not doing. The message must be clear. I believe one of the reasons, I've worked with Safaricom since 2010. I believe one of the reasons Safaricom has done well is that they redefined their message to everybody in the staff. Now, you think Safaricom is, better option, make money. But at the core of Safaricom belief system is transforming lives. And that was Bob Collymor's mindset, that everything we do, we must ask ourselves, is this transforming lives? If it is making money and it will not transform lives, I have seen them cut off some programs because the message is defined. So the message must be so well defined that we follow it like a religion. So what is the KIE message? You know, I've asked a lot of questions today. I was telling the MD that we're doing in 2 hours what we should do in 2 weeks. So I'm just trying to put everything there. I hope you are getting it. You know, so we've asked, who is our customer? We've asked, what is the KIE experience? But I'm asking, what is the message? Why are we here? That message. And you see, I've noticed that most companies in Kenya have the same values. All of them, professionalism, teamwork. Am I telling the truth? But you see, the thing is this. For us to be united as a team, what makes us a team is not that we are working together. It's that our minds are locked into the same place. Our minds are aligned against the same purpose. So what is? You see, I've been in a company where I'm with their senior management, 24 people, and I put the vision of the company on the screen, and I asked them, that company is one of my clients. Can you tell me which client it is? It was theirs, you understand? Only about 5 people got it right. It's important when we are defining the message, we are not using the dictionary definition. We are using our own internally generated definition. I tell you, when we're doing strategic development or whatever for the Communications Authority, I think we spent 4 or 5 days just on definitions. That, okay, what does transparency mean in this place? What does integrity mean in this place? Because if you don't define it, it is subject to everybody's interpretation. Let me tell you a story. You know, in Nigeria, our culture states that if I'm going to visit an important person, I must go with a gift. It's cultural. So, what happens when the important person I'm going to visit is the governor or cabinet secretary that can give me the contract I want. Where does culture end and corruption start? If you don't define it, you understand what I'm saying? That's why the president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, could say that stealing is not corruption. Are you hearing? Because we've not defined it. There was a bank that I was working with, and they wanted to they wanted me to interview some senior management positions for them. I just coming from the US. And so I'm there with some, 3 other people. And everything was going well until a cousin of mine came in. Maybe if my cousin had kept her mouth shut, it would have been okay. My cousin said, Wale, when did you come? And began to ask about my wife. Now please tell me, if you were me, what would you do? HR, what would you do? What should I have done? And I excused myself that this one is going to be difficult. So I went out. An uncle called me that night. I'm talking of defining culture and defining where you are going, the message. The uncle said, Wale, I heard about the rubbish you did today. I said, what was that? He said, your cousin, before she left home, she prayed that God will give her favor. So God put you there as an agent of favor. And then you walked out. You need to apologize to your cousin and repent before God. That is what happens when we don't define things. So what is the KIE message? Okay? So every religion has a message. Every religion has preachers. Who are your preachers? Who are the go-to people for the transformation? Who are the people that are natural influencers that people will gravitate towards to ask questions? So they may not be able to come to you as the boss, but you have a team of natural influencers who are your preachers. All right? And this is very powerful because then the message gets out there. Okay? So who are your preachers? And one good thing about these preachers is that there are people who will do all the things you are talking about. For instance, everybody look at me. Let me give you a very little example. Are you ready? Now, are you looking at me? Now, I want everybody, go ahead and touch your chin. There we go. There we go. Now, is that your chin? There we go. That was Leadership 101 in 5 seconds. That they will not necessarily do what you say, but they will do what you do. Because I was touching this place, that is how your chin moved here. So you must have the preachers. And these are guys that will be, they're the go-to guys. They're the guys that are showcasing what you're talking about. And then finally you have rewards and consequences. Every religion has that. Rewards and consequences. Now, one thing I discovered, people would tell me that, when we do well, nobody talks about it. But when we don't do well, everybody hears. And from an entrepreneurial position where I was coming from, I was initially of the opinion that, you are hired to do well. But you know what? Then I saw something that changed my whole thinking. Have you ever seen in movies or even on TV where the president of the United States is honoring some soldier for bravery in Afghanistan? Have you seen that? You've seen that, isn't it? It happens all the time. They honor the person in the State House, so in the White House. So you realize that the American soldier, when they are playing their anthem, they are crying. They can die for their country, isn't it? Hey, Nigerian soldiers were sent on a mission somewhere. They were surrounded. They said, we're not fighting. Just take us. We'll live with you. So we must develop a mechanism for creating a powerful experience for our teams. Once we have created a powerful experience for our teams, then they will simply pass it on. So the dynamics of culture change is the same as dynamics for religion. There must be a message, a preacher, rewards, and consequences. All right. Now, if we don't define culture, we'll be overridden by circumstances. It's the catalyst for performance. And one of my favorite sayings is, it is more difficult to bend a tree than to grow one. So, let's make sure we do that. And finally, what if, as an organization, we can have all those attributes that make a great business? How do you think we will be? And we've done this for quite a number of companies, Kenya, Nation, United Group, Kenji, quite a number of, it's a whole analysis, which I'll discuss with you at some other time. But this helps. But I think the key to go out with today is this. Assuming you say you want one of the attributes to be teamwork. Okay? One of the things that makes a great business is teamwork. A lot of us know teamwork, isn't it? And you know what a lot of organizations do? They try to address teamwork. We say, okay, let's go and do team building. But I found out over the years, team building really does not build a team. What builds a team is people united around a common purpose. Are you hearing me? That's what builds a team. We can do talk of war and be as divided as ever. And you see, we go for team building and we have not addressed the environment that created the problems in the first place. When we come back from team building, we go to the same environment. So the same problems will continue. So when we are looking at culture and transformation, you look at all these things, teamwork, you look at integrity. We need to understand that all these things are effects. And for every effect, there is a cause, isn't it? So the question we need to ask going forward, everything we want to see teamwork. The question is, what is the environment that will create teamwork as a natural progression? We want to see integrity. What is the environment that will make integrity a natural progression? Of course, before we've done that, we have defined what is integrity to this organization. What is our own definition of teamwork? What is our own definition? So we define those things. Then we now say, what is the environment that will create this?